also need to put it together and dial it in and figure out who we are as an offense and how we're going to be, how are we going to attack defenses, and those are the things that I want to be out there for, understand. Every year each team is different. You have a little different philosophy, but I feel good with where we are after 2 days. But again, we hadn't even put the pads on yet, so real football's coming.
It seemed like the ball might have been popping out a little more, like a little more zip. I don't know if that's just me, or did you work a little bit more on your throwing, or did you do something different while you were rehabbing?
Drew Brees said the older you get, the stronger his arms felt. So I can't argue with that. Feels pretty good.
Cool.
I thought he was lying when he was 32, 33, but I have worked hard at that for sure. But a lot of throwing the football is not your arm. It's patterning, it's sequencing. Your force comes from the ground, and all that comes from my leg. So getting that strengthened, getting that in the ground, throwing, being confident in that's all part of the throwing process. But a little rusty for a couple of days on some things, but overall I feel pretty confident.
Just to wrap up on the injury, I know you don't want to dwell on it, but we were kind of told that there was a process that was planned, that you guys were trying to get you back healthy in case you made the playoffs, and that at least the first of the cleanup surgeries was always part of the plan. Looking back on that, do you wish you had done anything differently to just maybe, I don't get it right the first time is not the exact phrasing, but you understand what I mean?
Well, I think just you can't plan for some of the things that happen. Those are just kind of rare instances that we had to fix some things. But again, I've got great doctors, great staff, coaches have taken care of me. So I definitely have. It's been a 7-day-a-week job to get back here, and so just being on the field has, I count it as a blessing for sure.
Totally unrelated to that, Dwayne obviously comes in as a young guy in the room. You've got the most experience of anybody here in this offense. Can you mentor and compete at the same time?
For sure. Dwayne is super talented. This offense is not easy to pick up, your first year. I remember when I came here, I was going into year 5, and I learned more football just in OTAs and in the spring, and you're challenged to think. But I would say the transition for Dwayne from the limited things that I saw in the spring to where we are right now, he's fully embraced it and working hard and not making the same mistakes. And I certainly am walking through that with him. I told him day one, we're competing, we're on the same team. The goal for us is to win. The coach is going to put the best player out there who he thinks is ready to lead this team. If that's you, if that's me, then we're in this thing together. And I think it's been a good room so far.
This is the first time you're practicing. You didn't practice really in the spring. How does that affect your approach to this competition, not having those reps when Case and Dwayne have? And then is there any part of you that maybe feels overlooked at all or anything like that?
I think it's early right now. I certainly would have liked to have been out there in the spring. I think my focus over these first 2 days and as we keep going is we have an unbelievably talented group of young receivers. I don't know that I've been around in 10 years drafted and undrafted rookie guys that can play. These guys are competing. There's a competition in that room for sure. They all can run. They can separate. So these 2 days have I've really been focused on how does this guy break down, get in and out of his cut. What's his depth of his routes? Talking to them, communicating. I think the disadvantage would be they got to throw with him all spring long. I'm not confused at all about the offense or the system. I've been here long enough for that. It's just getting a feel for everybody.
J.S. said that what he wants to see most from the guy who's going to win this job is the guy who can be most consistent. I guess, is there an area that you really feel like you need to get consistent in, or is there something that you kind of need to lock down that consistency to win the job?
There's a lot of things. I think, as we move forward, I think sort of eliminating, my leg, making sure it feels good. I think these 2 days I've really focused on how I feel. And I think I've done a pretty good job of handling that, and now really detailing and dialing in, sort of what I mentioned a little bit before, like who we are. We're going to be a 2-back team, a 1-back team. You know, every year we're a little bit different. But again, I just got to say, like, coming out here and throwing the ball around, I mean, it's what I do. I love it. But Jordan and Vernon, those guys are just playing at an elite level. And these young guys see that, and they're working and they're competing. And Paul has been great in that room. He's played a lot of football. He's talking about routes, depths. You know, when we get back to the hotel, spending some time with those guys, just really understanding what they see, how they see leverage. You know, field's different from a college field, right? The numbers are different. The hash marks are different. I want you to get here. You know, so it's coming along. Ike has done a great job with them, and that I think is going to be, if we can get a couple of those guys to you know, sort of separate themselves and stand out, I think we got a chance to be pretty explosive.
Colt, every time in your career when you get a chance to start to play, to be on the field, it seems like there's an injury. It's something.
Don't wish that on me.
I'm just going on history, and I'm just wondering what you think. Is it bad luck? How frustrating is it? It seems to keep happening.
Well, I think yeah, you're right. I've dealt with some injuries, but I don't think it's been my play on the field that's taken me off the field. You know, so I have to sort of remind myself that I'm confident in that, confident in what we do, and you know, staying upright's a big point of emphasis.
You were talking earlier about the urgency and some of that. It seemed a little different than some of the things even you said last year. Is something different today that makes you feel that urgency a little more? Is it the team? Is it you personally? Is there?
There's, you know, I don't want to say we're different. I think urgency is a good word. Our defense is playing well. You know, my first 2 days playing against our guys, getting a lot of the 1 reps. You know, the D line, the secondary, Dunny's playing great. Jano's showed up. They're showing a lot of different looks. Adding Landon. I mean, Landon has made some plays that, you know, great to see from my standpoint, but hard to beat. You know, I squeezed one in on him down the sideline, but he was in perfect position, right? So he'll bait you. They're smart. You know, taking reps against those guys is what football is all about. Making me better. I'm making them better. You know, I'm excited to put the pads on. So I just think overall, I think there's good leadership. I really do. I think the older guys on this team are really, you know, challenging the young guys. We have a wonderful coaching staff, and you know, this training camp down here in Richmond, it's work. It's figuring out who we are. You know, I'm getting tons of different looks. You know, the addition of Rob Ryan, I was with him in Cleveland. He's a great source of knowledge. You can talk ball with him. Manusky's awesome. So figuring out those things, seeing different looks. I mean, I think we're competing on both sides of the ball, and it's really helping our football team. I'm trying to get out there as much as I can. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What's up, guys? It's good. How are y'all? Sure. That's fine. Because you're new and this is another offense you haven't learned, where do you feel you're at in terms of your progression within this offense and where you want to be?
I feel good. You know, I feel good, but at the same time, I feel like I'm a long way away. I think there's a lot of room to grow. I love this offense. It is one of my favorite offenses I've ever played in. I love the way Jay and Kev and those guys, Tim, the way they see the field, the way they see offense, the way some of the same plays I've run, you know, just different, you know, points where I focus on different reads, take me to different places that I might have not gone before. So I really like it. It's good, and it's nice to have a spring under my belt where I can kind of work on those little intricacies and details.
Have you had a chance to, I don't know if it's appreciate this quarterback battle? I mean, it's a unique situation having 3 guys in such a deep competition just for one job.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of position groups here that are stacked. I leaned over. I think I watched Samaje make a run today, and I leaned over and looked over at Chris Thompson. I was like, we're loaded at running back. Like, and the same thing at quarterback. I think we can all play really well. A lot of big-time throws being made. So I think it's great. I think it's fun. We all love football. I remember looking this morning out on the back field, and I saw the little kids playing tackle the man or whatever, and I thought about when that was us, and now we're out here playing for the Washington Redskins. And taking little moments like that, I think appreciate is a great word for what we get to do as basically big kids playing the same sport we've been playing our whole lives. So I definitely appreciate the competition, and I love it. Y'all good?
Case, when you were in Minnesota in 17, it looked like the offense was designed to play to your strengths, and you guys had a lot of success. I was wondering how was the offense in Denver for your game, and I think you just said maybe you can elaborate on it a little bit. Does this offense fit your game and you better than others?
Yeah, so 17 with Pat, obviously Sam Bradford was a starter through the spring and training camp. So week 2 I went in and played most of the rest of the year. So it was kind of making myself fit what happened, and they Pat and Kevin Stefanski and those guys were able to, we were kind of able to meet in a really good spot, and I thought they did a great job of getting us in the great situations, getting our playmakers running their best routes on the matchups that we really wanted to. So I thought that was a good job. Denver last year with Bill, it was great coming in being the guy and, doing that throughout the spring and training camp and learning what we did well. Obviously didn't do well enough, but coming here now with an established coach, I mean, those were all, kind of transitional times, and with a coach like Jay and Kev and Cav and Tim, those guys have been talking about with an offense that's been established, with receivers who have been in this offense more than 1 year. It's great. And Colt, who's been here 5 years, there's a lot of knowledge, and it's a lot of getting down deep in the weeds of these plays and situationally and looking at different things different ways. So I really appreciate it. It's fun to be a part of an offense that's like that. And I think I've grown tremendously as a player in the short time I've been here, and I'm excited to see the steps I take forward.
In Minnesota, you got the team to the NFC Championship game, and then the Vikings chose to clean house at quarterback and bring someone new in. You've been around long enough to know it's a business and things happen, and maybe that things don't surprise you, but did that surprise you?
No, I mean, as time went on and they didn't sign me back, I knew it wasn't going to happen. So that was kind of a gradual decision, I guess you could say. So, yeah. I guess that didn't surprise me if that was your question.
Sure. Case, 2 questions.
Yep.
Firstly, what areas have you seen Dwayne make strides, in particular between OTAs and now?
A lot of areas. He's making leaps and bounds. He's a really good football player, and he's going to be a great quarterback for a long time. He makes some big-time throws with guys in his face. I know we're not getting hit right now, but there's some big guys running at him full speed on some plays, and some throws that I've been really impressed by. Operationally, just playing quarterback in the NFL, it's a different operation than it is at any college. And I don't care if you played Ohio State or any other school too. So he's got the learning curve, but he's attacking every day, and I'm impressed by what I've seen so far.
The other question is, you gave Tony Romo a run for his money a couple weeks ago on the golf course. I didn't really know you played golf, especially so well, but why is it that certain quarterbacks are so good at golf? Is there overlap there that I'm not seeing?
Yeah, there's so every year in late in February, we do this quarterback golf challenge. It's like the last 2 days, like the 30th and 31st in February, we do this golf challenge where we all go and we work really, really hard in practice. Did you get it? Okay, good.
I'm trying to keep a straight face here. Everyone else is laughing.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to keep a straight face and keep.
I don't know, man. I mean, something in a quarterback's nature where, one, you tell me I can't do something and I'm going to sit there and try to do it till I can. And then, 2, I don't want to call it perfectionism, but I want to master something. I want to have a craft and master it in golf. It's a sport that, very few, if anybody ever, has mastered it completely. And I love it. It's a great way to unwind in the off season. I just train in the morning and then go out and hit golf balls, and it just kind of clears my mind. And but I love it. Yeah, and I missed a couple putts that last day to be up there in second place. So it was Tony's tournament. He was winning the whole time though.
I forgot about your dry sense of humor. I'll keep that in mind from now on.
Yeah, you do that.
I'll just ask you about your tight end. What have you seen from Jordan so far, and how unique is he in terms of a weapon that compared to guys? Because you obviously play with terrific tight ends, Kyle in Minnesota for sure. What's special about Jordan and different?
Man, it's been so much fun being in the NFL and being around so many different types of tight ends. Because in college, I didn't play with really a tight end. We were four wide, 5 wide, and it's been so cool being around him and Vernon, because I've never been around talents like that ever. They are special, and to have him back out there to see what he's able to do, what he's capable of doing, and to do it with him and be able to the one throwing him the ball has been it's been a lot of fun. I enjoy it tremendously.
Case over here. How hard is it to adjust to new receivers when you go into a new offense? Adjusting to new receivers once you go into a new offense, because you're learning the offense. Now you got to learn the offense and the receivers. So how do you approach that task?
It's different with every receiver. Some receivers it just kind of clicks. You look out there and you know what they're thinking. They know what you're thinking. You know that they know that you know what they're thinking, and so on. With other guys, it takes a little time, and it's not bad. That's what training camp's for. That's what the spring's for. That's why you practice. So not every bad throw or bad route, missed catch, whatever, it's not always terrible, because you learn and you get that situation ironed out in the training camp. You get that situation ironed out in preseason games, so that when it really counts, when it really matters, when it's 3rd down and 6 for the ball game against Philly, week 1, or even more, some of the games later on that you've already talked about it, you've already repped it, and you know that they know that you know that they know, and they do it.
Case, can you talk about this defensive secondary?
Right too.
Can you talk about this defensive secondary, what you're seeing out there, and how good they are?
Yeah, Josh is a talent, man. He makes plays, and it's not just batted passes. If it's close to him, he's going to catch it, and those guys are scary. So I've got a tremendous amount of respect for him, having played him a couple times in the past. Landon Collins, another guy. You could look up our stats together. Cromartie, the same thing. I mean, all those guys, and that's just off the top of my head. There's a really, really good secondary presence back there, and they're doing a great job of giving us some great looks, different looks that are disguising and can be confusing at times. So it's been really good. They're challenging our receivers. A lot of competition already going in the first 2 days.
Case, you talked about your mindset. If somebody says you can't do something, you want to do it. With that mindset, you've talked about how much you love competition. In your head, are you already the starter for this team? Is that how you have to operate?
Yeah, I've operated that way since I was on the practice squad my first year with the Texans. I knew I wasn't going to play. I mean, I was 4th string practice squad quarterback, but I treated each week like I was, and I got ready to play. I memorized the game plan just like Matt did. And, even though I wasn't getting the reps, I'd, go watch the film afterwards and, okay, what would I have done here? So I've operated that way if I was the scout team quarterback, the second team, which you have to do as a backup, and then playing the same way. So that's how I operate. That gets me prepared, because I've been in a lot of different situations where my name's been called when I wasn't expected to, too. So, there's 2 sides to that.
Different at all, though, when your name might be called?
We're kind of getting into the season and how that goes, but there are some differences there. You can ask, that's something for later on, I think. But if you're getting the reps and you're not getting the reps, there's a little difference. But I mean, that's NFL. There's not enough reps to go around, and so you have to get mental reps. You have to stand behind. You have to watch the film, and say, what would I have done in this situation, and what can I learn from it when I am in that situation.
Case, kind of piggybacking off JP's question, you guys are teammates competing for a position, but I'm sure you work off each other and push each other. How do you benefit from that in a quarterback competition?
I think you definitely benefit. I mean, the team is better when we're all competing against each other to make each other better. That's at each position group. And we're all rooting each other on too, which is good. They're all good guys in that meeting room. So nobody's hoping anybody does bad. We're all helping each other out, seeing, hey, what did you see on this? Talk to me about this. Well, how do you view this play? So that's having that chemistry as well as the competition. That makes us all better. It makes us better as quarterbacks. Then it turns the offense. It makes the offense better and makes the team better. Thanks, guys.
All the questions.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. You guys good? You good? Okay.
It didn't do the noise I thought I was going to do. All right.
Hello. What's it like being in that quarterback room? What have you been learning from Case and Colt so far?
It's been great. Having guys like Case and Alex be in the meetings, Colt, from the coaches, just being able to pick their brain every day, figuring out new ways to get better, how to read defenses differently or find a trick to call in a play. Just everything I can do to find little details to keep getting better.
Is this the first time that you've really worked with Alex and sort of got to pick his brain?
Yeah, he wasn't really around during minicamp and stuff like that, but he's there every day now, so I'll get to pick his brain.
Dwayne, how much different are the practices here versus the ones that we had in Ashburn, during the spring? Or are they still the same until tomorrow when you guys get the pads on?
I feel like the format is still the same. Probably the intensity is more intense. Definitely coming from a more intense install, and I'm just trying to figure out how to play fast and healthy at the same time.
How do you feel like you're adjusting to the speed of everything?
Speed's fine. I won't say the talent's much different than what I've been used to. It's just guys are more instinctive. They know what they're doing more, and they do a better job reading me. So that's why I'm trying to figure out how to beat them.
Dwayne, back here.
All right here.
Oh, back here. How do you feel that you are with the offense? Like, if you give a percentage, how comfortable are you with the offense? Do you feel like there's still parts of it that you're kind of lost on, or do you feel comfortable where you are or where you think you should be?
Yeah, I want to master the playbook. For me being able to call plays on my own, for me being able to understand what Coach Gruden wants when he calls a play, and I'll take time. But I mean, whatever they give me, as far as install for 1, install 2, whatever it is, I'm going to master that and make sure that's what I know best for that practice. So every day I'm just trying to make sure I know my job.
No starter's been named yet, obviously. What's your attitude about this competition I would assume you want to be the starter, but how do you approach trying to get from here to there?
Just 1% better, 1 practice, 1 throw, 1 rep, 1 series at a time. And it's easy to look at the end goal, 1 to play, 1 to start, but that's not the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to be ready to play, and that's what I'm working on.
Do you find yourself, even out here on a day like today, this morning, where you hit a point where you can find yourself improving on little things, even just with different reps or snaps? Do you see that improvement or feel it already?
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to notice stuff where Coach calls me to play, and I already know what he wants to call. I know before he says it. Or I see a defense, and I already see the rotation. I flip the protection, call a new hot, and it's just like that. And, that's when I feel most comfortable is when I see it before it happens. So.
And how much, I talked in the spring about the consistency and all that. How much do you feel like you've narrowed maybe some of the inconsistent throws or lessened some of those that maybe you want to kind of get rid of?
The only time I feel I'm not inconsistent or accurate is when I don't know the play or I'm late on my drop. And otherwise than that, I'm consistent.
There was a moment there in 7-on-7 drills where you'd had a couple incompletions, and it looked like maybe you or the receiver weren't on the same page, and Jay Gruden stopped you, and you talked for a minute, and it seemed like he was giving you some encouragement. How is your development going working with the head coach?
Yeah, it's great. We have a great relationship, crack jokes every now and again, and it's very healthy. Me just trying to figure out what he wants. So when we talk after a play, it's like, I seen this, what did you see? How did you want this? How did you want this done? And it makes it easier for him to trust me in the situation. So, I mean, every time I get to ask him, Kevin, or Coach Rattay, or even Kavanaugh, what did he see? What did he want? And I mentally sort that in my head, and I do it the next time I get the rep.
What was said in that moment?
I'm trying to remember that play. I don't remember the play. Remember the play?
You had an incompletion, and it looked like the receiver was breaking out. You threw it in, and then you and Jay talked for a minute, and he was kind of showing you with his hand that it was going out.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out timing and where the receiver's going to be. We run like a lot of option routes and stuff where a receiver picks where he wants to be, and I'm ready to throw. He's not ready to break, and just trying to figure out the timing. It was it was X and Z swirl with Josh, and I was early on my drop. I threw it early. He wasn't ready to break out. If I would have took an extra hitch, I would have hit him right in his chest. So I was trying to figure stuff out like that.
Thank you.
Dwayne, kind of along those lines, Terry McLaurin, you have a great connection. We've known this for a while now, but especially out there trying to rally back from the adversity, seems like he gives you a bit of comfort when you're in the pocket. How has he helped you keep calm, patient when you're out there trying to take one step at a time, as you alluded to?
Yeah, whenever I see Terry in the huddle, I'm like, Coach, come in and play for Terry. And that's because I know where he's going to be at from like his timing, how he runs his routes, his leverage, how he beats defenders. And it's like in sync for me. So trying to get that with everybody else. And, Terry does a great job. He knows where I'm going to be. I know where he's going to be. And it's like night and day. Thanks.
How do you feel like your cadence has developed the last couple months? And there was a play yesterday where Jay said that, the line jumped and said that was on the quarterback. You're the quarterback on the play. Just how do you feel like that's developed, and do you feel like you've made progress?
Yeah, college I said 2 words, and I was set go. And now it's I got dumb cadences. I got different checks, different enunciations for stuff, and trying to figure out how to flip a protection without having the right tackle jump. And it's just nuances of operation that you have to be conscious of playing quarterback. And that's something that you got to get experience in doing.
Going off that, how have you felt about the offensive line you've worked behind so far in 11-on-11s here?
Yeah, they do well. My thing is to try to elevate the guys around me. So I don't care who's in the huddle. I don't care if it's 1s, 2s, or 3s. We're going to go out there and play ball. So whenever it's in the huddle, I'm motivating, talking smack, we're having fun, and that's the most thing we do.
Dwayne, in the back, how supportive is the quarterback room? Everybody's in a competition, but a rising tide lifts all boats, and everybody, ultimately wants the starting quarterback of this franchise to succeed. How supportive is everyone in the room, especially given that you're going through this for the first time?
Yeah, very supportive. All of them have voiced to me that if I need it for something, I can ask them. And, I'm more to myself as far as trying to figure out how to get better for me. But if I don't understand the concept, I'll ask Colt, I'll ask Case, I'll ask whoever it is in the room, and just trying to figure out ways where I can make things simpler for me, and they do a great job for that.
You just said that the person who's going to win this job is going to be the person who's going to be the most consistent. I guess, what areas do you feel like you still need to be a little bit more consistent in, and how has that kind of progressed?
Yeah, I mean, consistency for me is calling every play right in the huddle, operating in the line of scrimmage, and then getting the ball and just ripping it. And then that's what I need to just focus on every time I get to play, is just relaxing and just going out and play ball.
Anyone else? Matt, you good? Yeah. Anyone else in the podium? Anyone else in the podium? I think you're good. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right.